Hey everyone, welcome to another video of the Crossmint console series. In this video, we'll be learning how to create an embedded checkout page for your NFT collection using Crossmint. If you're wondering how to create an NFT collection using Crossmint, please watch the older videos in the same Crossmint console playlist that will be linked in the description below. In the previous video, we looked at how you can create a no-code claims page for your NFT collection. However, the customizability of the no-code claims page is fairly limited. And when your goal is to create an end-to-end customized checkout page, that's when you need to use Crossmint's embedded checkout feature. And the embedded checkout lets you fully customize the UI UX of your checkout page that can be natively integrated into your website without any pop-ups or redirects. You can also subscribe to different events using this. So before we proceed with the rest of the tutorial, please create a simple React app and ensure that you have everything set up using your terminal. This could either be a React app or a Next app. You would need this in order to proceed with the integrating of the code. And feel free to pause the video and set up a new React app. Once you've set this up, let's proceed. And now in order for us to work with the Crossmint payment components within your JavaScript code, you need to install Crossmint's client SDK, which would basically be npm install @crossmint /client -sdk -react -ui. And once you enter this command, this will fetch the package and install it, and give it a few seconds, and once this is done installing, you can proceed with the rest of the tutorial. And now that this has been installed, you need to first import the Crossmint payment element inside your code. And this element is what you will need to build your embedded checkout flow. So I'm gonna type import Crossmint payment element from @crossmint /client SDK React UI. And I'm also going to import a simple CSS file that I have created just for the sake of simplicity and to improve the overall UI of the demo. Once this is done, you need to declare the function, which would be function app in my case. And you need to decide and determine what the function would be returning. And I'm going to give a simple return function. And I'm also going to enclose my code within a div tag just to ensure that it follows the CSS styling. I'm going to give it as center container, since this is a CSS component that I've already declared in my code. And once this is done, this is where you will need to enter your Crossmint payment element tag. And this will have a couple of parameters. But before we proceed with those parameters, I'm going to show you what you need to populate this tag with, and ensure that you don't use this, because you can simply put / and then close it. And within this, the parameters will be project ID, which is a mandatory parameter that you need to include. And you also need collection ID. So that would be collection ID. So these are two mandatory parameters, and you can find the project ID and collection ID for your collection on the dashboard for your Crossmint collection that you see right here. And you can simply copy and paste them. So I'm going to copy the project ID and I'm going to paste it here. And I'm also going to copy the collection ID, and then I'm going to paste it in the collection ID parameter. You also need to pass another variable or parameter called environment. So environment determines whether you're using the staging or production console, and in our case I'm using staging. And then you need to input this particular parameter, which would be email input options. This is simply to determine whether you would need to show the email input options to the end user or not inside the embedded checkout flow. And in my case, I would like to show this, so I'm gonna enter show as true. And now another mandatory parameter that you need to pass would be mint config, because mint config is where you declare the type of the collection, which would be type is ERC721, and then the total price, which I have set as 0.001. So I'm going to enter 0.001. And then I'm also going to enter the quantity. So the quantity is what would determine how many NFTs would be minted per function call. So I'm gonna restrict it to 1. And once this is done, you need to pass another parameter. Note that this is optional. So this is a simple parameter that is on event, which checks for the satisfaction of a particular event. And if an event is satisfied, it redirects to a particular function or a flow. You can determine how this flow works, but for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to keep it as simple console log. And when you do console log it, what I'll be console logging is basically what the event returns and the status of it. So I'm going to give it as this, and then I'm going to write console.log an event. And you can see that I've finished populating the parameters that are required for my Crossmint payment element. Also note that there are other few parameters that you can pass through, but for the sake of simplicity, I'm avoiding all of that. And I have also not included any explicitly configured design or theme specifications, but if you'd like to customize them, check out the link in the description where you can find examples on how you can do so. And the same goes for events. And since I'm only logging the event that is being returned, and I'm not customizing any of the flow even further, but if your goal is to understand how you can use events to customize the entire flow, then you can check out the link that I'll be leaving in the description below to learn further. And now that I've entered all the code, I'm simply going to run this by typing npm start in my terminal. And this will open up another tab, which would be localhost 3000. All right, so once I've ran npm start, you can see that it would open another tab with localhost 3000, which is where this particular code is deployed temporarily. And I'm going to simply refresh to see if everything is working as expected. And you can see that there's a simple form on the website which is asking me to enter my email address, card number, and other few details. And this is the embedded checkout flow, and this is what the end user would be viewing. As simple as this looks like, you can fully customize this and make sure that it matches your website's theme end to end. And this is just for the sake of this tutorial, but I'm going to show you what the flow would look like. So let me enter the email address as my personal email address. And let me give it a Stripe approved dummy card details since the collection is actually on staging, so I do not need to use real money to mint an NFT. Let me give any random expiration and CVV number. And I'm going to give my cardholder name as Rohit. I'm going to simply open the console log, and since I'm logging any of the event that is taking place within this embedded checkout, I need to see if anything is being logged properly or not. And I'm going to click on pay button. And once this is done, you can see that the payment process has been started. The payment also succeeded, which means the NFT has been successfully minted to my email address. And if I go back to the console and I quickly refresh, and you can see that the NFTs minted has been increased from 5 to 6. And you can see that I recently minted another NFT. And this is the timestamp, which means our NFT mint flow is working through the embedded checkout. And that's it for today's video. In the next video, we'll be looking at how the project owner verification and collection verification works. And these two steps are crucial when you're working with a collection on production console or mainnet. Thank you for watching.